The following may contain strong opinionated views. The views and opinions expressed on this show does not necessarily reflect the views or the opinions of any social media or broadcast platform.
Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversations and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now, here's your hosts Frank Allan and Brian Camp.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. Here we are once again. It's Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning at 1 a.m. in London, 3 a.m. in Israel, and it's 9 a.m. in Tokyo, Japan. We're always glad to have you aboard. The name of the show is called Talk Back Live, and we're talking back live to you. We're coming out of New York City because that's where we originate. But that doesn't mean we stop there, because this show is global. It goes all around the world. And of course, you're all invited to drop by and just indulge with us. And what I mean by that is that all this show long, for the whole hour, we're going to indulge in conversation together. And I want you in on the action. I want to thank all of my people who've been around with us for all of these years. You've been very consistent about being with us, and we thank you so much for that. We also like to talk to the people who may be here for the very first time. I'll tell you about the show. As the host of the show, I get things started. I'm in the prep mode right now. And while I'm prepping, you can at any time at all, this very minute, as a matter of fact, chime in on a conversation. All you have to do is use your keyboard on your computer, your cell phone, or even your tablet. And of course, I will see you right there on the big screen. And of course, we'll entertain all of your thoughts and ideas, because that's what the show is all about: free exchange of ideas and of opinion. And we want you part of that action as well. We've got a good show planned for you, and that's why we want you involved in the show. Now, you may be in another time zone, someplace on the other side of the world, and your time may be different. It may be nighttime in some places and morning in the other places. But wherever you are, we want you to stay with us and enjoy the show. There's a lot to talk about. Well, here it is. It is Thursday. And of course, Brian Camp is going to be along with us. Brian Camp is my co-host on the show. And of course, he's always with us on a Thursday. He's officially the co-host and have been for a while. And he's going to be with us. Not only that, hosting or co-hosting show, he is going to bring us the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. We can't wait until he comes in and chimes in. Just chime in so we can get him on the air. But he's going to give you the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. Now, later on in the program, too, as well, somewhere midway in the program, we're going to give you those all of those things that happen. Now, being that this is a brand new day, and we're still in the same month of August. This is August 27th, and that may be a historical day. As a matter of fact, it is a historical day. There's a lot of things that happen on that day back in time. So we're going to bring you this day in history. That's coming up later on in the program, and we'll let you know what's to be as far as that's concerned. This day in history. A whole laundry list of a lot of things that happened on this day in history, and we're going to let you know more about that too. And before the show is over, we can't leave the show without giving you those movies. Now, each week, as you already know, I go into the Turner Classic Movie Vault. I go there, and what I do is I pick out the very best movies I can find for your week, my picks of the week for your weekend. Of course, you know the weekend is coming along, and I know you guys do a lot of things during the week. Right? You're doing a lot of things during the week. Well, one of the things that you may want to do is check out some movies you haven't seen in a long time. You may be in an area where this weekend may be a whole stormy, rainy weekend, and it keeps you indoors. That's the best time to catch up on some movies. And so we have those coming along for you, a list of those, and we'll tell you more about that. That's from Turner Classic Movies. And so here we are. And we're waiting for the arrival of Brian Camp chiming in. I don't know if he, sometimes he chimes in before I get here, but I haven't seen him yet. But hopefully he'll get here pretty soon as he gives us the latest developments in today's world of sports, unless he's held up somewhere. But in the meantime, while we're doing that, Yes, it is. Here is the month of August, and we're almost through with August. Now, I know a lot of you people are ready to do a lot of things. You're getting ready for the kids to go back to school. Now, depending on where you are, in some places, school starts what, this week or next week, come Monday, Tuesday, or whatever it is, because this is the end of the month. It's usually that way in the South anyway. And I know here in the beginning of the week of, maybe it's the first week. I'm not sure. I'm not really up on it, but I do know it's usually back to school after the holiday, or it's sometime after the holiday, which we got a holiday coming up. We got a long weekend of next weekend coming up. That will be the Labor Day holiday. So that's the beginning of brand new month of September. So we'd be looking forward to that. And we'll tell you more about that later as we go along. That means the summer is just about over. Now, Labor Day usually marks the unofficial ending of summer. That's the unofficial ending of summer. That's how it's marked. Summer months and the weather will still be here, but that's the unofficial day and the ending of summer. So therefore, we're going to go back to the winter. And come November, of course, you've got the cold weather coming upon us. Uh, well, first of all, we got to get back to October, but then you got Christmas coming up and all of those things, all of those beautiful things that you'd be looking forward to. That's why I'm savoring the moment right now. Now, the weather, it's a little here in New York anyway. It's not as chilly. The highest that we went today in New York was 77 degrees. Now, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So I think I could safely say the heat wave, all of that hot weather that we have experienced all summer long, I think that's the thing of the past. But then you never know. It's surprising. It may surprise you or surprise me. You never know. You never know. So this is for what's happening. So we're still waiting for the arrival for Brian Camp. But while we're waiting, we want to let you know that this is the last week for this. Well, let's see. Last week, as I look at my calendar here, let me just make sure. Okay. All right. So, yeah, this is the last day. I would say, yeah, this is the last day of August that we do Talk Back Live. This is our very last day that we do Talk Back Live. So, next week, when we come back to do Back Live, we'll be in a brand new month. So, well, let's just keep our fingers crossed. So here he is. He's live and in person, living color, and he's right there out of Charlotte, North Carolina. My co-host Brian Camp. How you doing, Brian? I think you better unmute your mic. I think that'll help.
Oh, doing good, doing good. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for coming in late. Just had to take care of some last matters. I've been having trouble with my internet the last 2 days. I was on a Zoom, got bumped off a couple of
Mm-hmm.
times last night, but looks
Mm-hmm.
like so far so good and everything.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll
so
certainly keep our fingers crossed. I mentioned that you'll have sports coming up later on in the
yes.
program, but I also want to mention that this is the last week of August. As a matter of fact, this is our last show in August, and we drift over to a brand new month. Uh, and people are getting ready to go back to school. Did your school start yet?
Started on wait a minute, what's today? We started on Tuesday.
Oh, oh, so
Yeah,
you're back.
started
So you're in full effect there as far as the school is concerned, right? Because
full
over
effect,
here,
yeah.
yeah. So over here where we are, it doesn't start until after the holiday, which
Yes.
is next week. We got that holiday coming up. Well, so how does it feel to be back? Were the kids glad to see you?
I was at a different school. No, yeah, they were, yeah, in some ways, but I wasn't at my regular school. But you know, students, the first week or so, they're pretty cool, but then as we go on, they start, they're not bad, but they start getting
They're
familiar
kids.
with things. Yeah, just being kids and everything,
Yeah. Yeah. Because you remember
Yeah.
how it was when you were young.
Yes, yeah. I was a different person once I said goodbye to my mother. She had always got to check you to make sure you're okay and everything. And
Yeah.
yes, ma, yeah, okay, ma, yeah. And then when you leave, you go around the corner, then you meet with your friends, and then you're a different species right after that. You're not the same person. I know I wasn't, you know. But when I came home, I was that same child of, respective son that wanted to show respect and never disrespected my mother, you know. So, yeah, good old
Is
days.
yeah. We've got National Immunization Awareness Month. I want to mention that because this is the last time I'll be telling you about that. But something I will be lingering on beyond that, uh, even after, because people are getting ready to get their shots. And as Brian said, school started over there where he is. It'll be starting soon where we are here. And you want to make sure your children get the shots that they're needed to get. Uh, Make sure that's happening, whether it's the flu shot. Now, the flu shots, depending on where you are available right now. I know it's available over here where we are. And I think in most places they're available because it's usually around this time, usually around August, mid-August, right through from there on to through September, through the rest of the flu season. They're available. And I mentioned to you also last week that the shots for COVID, the updated version for COVID-19, the immunization for that, is going to be available. The only thing they said, it's going to be available in the fall. That could be any time at all. That could be
Mhm.
pretty soon. That could be, the beginning of next month or the middle of next month or something like that. But whatever it is, if you are so inclined, you get yours. It'll be available to you. And if anything changes, the news change in that department, I will certainly let you know. But it is National Immunization Month, and that's the last time we're going to be talking about that. So, what happened all this week besides school? Did you I hope you had a relaxing summer through all of that. You
I
got to
had a
get.
relaxing summer. I mean, the last 2 summers was very hectic of work. Had surgery, so the last 2 summers it was really really rough. But I made sure this summer I went on a couple of cruises and I got plenty of rest. I slept, and I slept a lot, taking
Mm,
naps, still, and went to bed at night, still feeling tired, and went to sleep without any problems and everything. So it was a relaxing summer. Did some things. I was working on a project, converting um, DVDs and VHS tapes to a converter where I could keep it on a flash drive. So I've been
yeah.
working on it this summer. And other than that, I'm energized now. I'm energized, so I'm ready for the fall now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so unfortunate that we thought like the DVDs and all of the VCR, the DV, the DV, the VCR tapes and all of that. We thought that was going to be forever, you
Yeah.
know, and we never thought that if let's say for instance, if your machine broke down because they don't really sell them anymore. They don't really sell them unless you go on Amazon. You can get one, but
Mhm.
I never thought that we would have to go to another source and convert them to up to date versions, digital versions. Never thought that.
Right. Right.
Thought they're going to be
Well,
around forever.
I tell you, I seen it coming from a distance. I used to do weddings and birthday parties with
Mm,
photography and videography. But I tell you, I call up some of my friends in New York who are colleagues of mine, and I was offered to do a wedding upcoming, but it was canceled. Why I don't know. And I asked around, I said, well, what is it that, we used to give them DVDs. What is the requirements what is it that they get? And they just say, man, you've been out of the business for a while. You've been out of, yeah. I said, I have. So the only thing they require is just a little flash drive, or if you
mm,
want to tell them to get a hard drive, a little flash drive, you
mm.
get, and you email them on the Dropbox.
Yeah.
You get it on Dropbox, and they could view it, and they could file it, save it, whatever. But no more
Hmm.
DVDs. They do sell DVDs. You have to go to Goodwill to get them for like
Yeah.
$4 or $5, and that's not joking around. Because if you go
Mm,
to Goodwill and get a used one, it only costs you a couple of dollars, $5.
hmm.
So
Yeah. it's a lot of work too. I mean, even for your computer. Remember when you were able to rip audio and video from your computer directly from your computer? They don't
Yes.
have they don't have that feature anymore.
No, they don't. They don't.
Now, now you have to go buy an external device that allows you to do that. You plug it in your computer,
Mhm.
and of course you do it the same way that you did it when you had it in the computer. But when the computers they're making today, uh, I remember even the laptops used to contain a space for playing back DVRs and other audio stuff, like CDs and things like that. They don't have those anymore.
No, they don't. They don't.
So times change. It really
Times is
changed.
changing. Yeah, for sure. But it is what it is. But we just have to adapt to the new technology. If it makes
Mm.
it easier, I'm for it. As long as
Yeah,
it's not difficult to use and everything, I'm for it and everything. But I still keep the old stuff as well too.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, it's Talk Back Live, and today we're going to be with you, as I said, for the full hour, and you can invite yourself in or come on in. We invite you to come on in and enjoy the conversation with us, whatever the conversation will be, and you can make up your own piece of conversation, whatever you want to talk about. Dolly Parton, whose career spanned music, TV, and film, including 11 Grammys and introductions or inductions into the Country Music and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, has died. Polly's, Dolly's Parton's nephew, Brian Seaver, announced the news on Instagram Tuesday. The last year, Parton had canceled a string of concerts and appearances due to unspecified health conditions and health challenges. And she announced in May that she was canceling a Las Vegas show and said she'd been undergoing treatment for kidney stones for several years. And later reports suggest that she was battling cancer. She was 80. Shelley Fabre, star of Coach and the Donna Reed Show, has died. Fabre first enjoyed success on the Donna Reed Show, where she played daughter Mary, and she also had a brief career as a singer. And later, she starred in the sitcom Coach as Christine Armstrong. She also appeared in 3 movies with Elvis Presley. Fabre died last Saturday in Los Angeles, surrounded by her loved ones. She was 82. Let's go over to sports right now and see what you got. How's it going with that?
Okay, I want to say something about Dolly Parton. A lot of people
Mhm.
don't know this. Usually when I read up on somebody, of what they've done and how they give back to the communities. She's the original the songstress of what's that song with Whitney Houston sung it.
She
Um,
wrote I Will Always Love You.
right. And
Yes.
so, you got to get the rights from Dolly Parton. So what she did was she donated, was it $10 million
Mhm.
to the Black community in Nashville, and for the how Whitney Houston sang the song, and she said, "I want to give something back because it's meaningful." And I thought that was so wonderful. I met her in person back in the early to mid 80s. I was a security guard at a movie theater down on Times Square, and you know, greeted her. What a wonderful, nice lady she was. She was that much of a fantastic lady. She took time to speak to security officers, me, and to
Mhm.
the other co-workers of mine and everything. And
Mhm.
she just gave encouraging words and everything. So um,
Mhm.
may she rest in peace. Glad I was able to meet her and keep her family in prayers as well too. So
Well, I'm going to reflect more on Dolly Parton too. There's a lot to talk about. That's the dominating news of the week right now. I want to reflect more on her a little later on as well.
okay. It is 80 degrees right now here in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. The high was 86 today. And we had, fall is coming, so it's not as hot. It's still hot, still warm, but it's not as treacherous hot where you'd be sweating while you walking. But it was a beautiful day here in Charlotte, North Carolina. In sports, we just got two stories in the NFL. The San Francisco 49ers owner, Jay York, used a how would you call it? Well, let's just say he responded to multiple times to a fictitious ad for a prostitute prior to his arrest in Ohio over the weekend. In the report, it says officers with the Mahoning Valley Law Enforcement Task Force wrote that York identified himself as a man named Joe in response to the ad, which was posted by an undercover officer posing as a woman as a known prostitution website. York contacted the undercover officer twice Saturday with no response before the undercover officer responded to a third message sent Sunday and offered to meet that morning in East Palestine, Ohio, according to the incident report. Now, officers arrested York. Yes, he did get arrested after he arrived at the agreed upon meeting location. The Wheat Hill mobile home community with both the phone used to communicate with the fictitious prostitute and $160. Wow. That's a cheap sale. Just joking. Anyway, which the incident reported stated was York was charged with two misdemeanors, engaging in prostitution and possession of criminal tools. Prosecutors later amended the prostitution charge to disorderly conduct as part of a plea agreement. York ultimately pleaded no contest, paid $1,150 in fines, that was cheap, and was sentenced to 1 day in jail. Wow, I bet you that was an eternity for him. To For each charge, which 1 day already considered to be served. So he just got a little slap on the wrist. Nothing there, but it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to his family, I'm sure, to the NFL. I'm pretty sure he will be fined and penalized by the NFL for doing stuff like that. Because in the NFL, if you do things outside of the NFL, whether it's with his domestic dispute or physical dispute, you will be fined and suspended. Now, this story's been going on for a while. I'm going to have to bring it up again. There's more to the WNBA. The Chicago Cloud banned Enes Kanter Freedom. Freedom was the name that he got. He just added on from Wintrust Arena after the former NBA player was removed from building by security on last Sunday. Now, Kanter Freedom was involved in a verbal altercation with Sky point guard Natasha Cloud late in the third quarter of a loss against the Indiana Fever. He was sitting courtside in a black T-shirt that read "woman" and then says the noun adult human female. So he was drawing attention, obviously. When a timeout was called, Cloud walked toward him. She walked over to him, and Freedom and him had a shouting match. He was standing with his arms outstretched and took a few steps toward the court before security cut off and directed him to leave. So he was told to leave the arena. Would he get a refund? Because usually when you have to leave the arena, you're supposed to get a refund, depending on how bad the situation. Now, Freedom, that's his last name now, has inserted himself as the political realm in recent years, as has been vocal in the national debate sparked by Fever guard Sophie Cunningham. Comments regarding transgender athletes. He and former NBA player Royce White recently declared themselves women and eligible to play in the WNBA. Now they're not transgenders, but they were trying to make a point. Former NBA players Charles Barkley and Steven Jackson, who's has a podcast with Up in Smoke, agree with Kantner. There's no way in the world. I'm going to clean it up. I'm not going to say exactly what they say, but there's no way in the world that a transgender should be playing a game in women's sports. That's why it's called the WNBA, not the NBA. So it's still gonna get ugly, but it's just not going to go away. I blame the commissioner, um, who is Inglewood, and NBA owner, and the NBA commissioner as well too. Because if they don't speak up, how are we going to teach our young girls, our young kids, what's right and what's wrong? My issue is this, and I said this for the last 2 to 3 weeks. If a transgender going to go into a woman's bathroom, what is he? And I'll say he because he was born a male. So what is he going to do when he has to use the bathroom? Is he going to squat or he's going to stand up? This has to stop. This is really stupid. They should not be playing in a women's sport. It's a disadvantage to women born athletes. It's just not right. But unfortunately, the WNBA is supporting this. So, you know, you're trying to help women, and I understand what they're trying to do, but the WNBA players, at least the majority of them, except for Sophie Cunningham, who brought it to life, now it's becoming a conflict now. So now, right now, the WNBA is a little turmoil right now because they're not speaking up about this here. And it's the job for the commissioner to do something about it. And all Freedom wanted to do was says, hey, all I'm trying to do is just help the women. That's all. He's not going to really play for the women and for the WNBA. No, he's not doing that. But this is more news to follow with this. This day in sports, August 27th, 1910, using 20 137,000 candle power arc lights, two amateur baseball teams played a night game at White Sox Park. That's a lot of lights. Using 20 of 137,000 candlelight power are arc lights. I don't know what they look like, but when you see the word 20 and then next to it 137, that's a lot of lights. That was back in 1910. That's a lot of lights, a lot of power, but no electric power because they was using battery or candle, something like a candlelight kind of things for them to see, for them to play in a night game. 1966, Oakland pitcher Paul Lindblad begins a 385 game consecutive errorless streak. 1976, transsexuals. Here we go again, transsexuals. You remember this one in 1976? Dr. Renee Richards, the transgender tennis player, is barred from competing in the U.S. Open. You believe that? I just came across that and I thought about it. I said, here it is. We're going through this here with the WNBA. And I remember I was like 14 years old. I remember this so clearly. Renee Richards, she's Dr. Renee Richards. She had a sex change and was barred because it wasn't fair. But to be honest with you, in a case like this, I want to use the word he, did not have an effect because there was born women players still beating them. So it didn't really matter in tennis. Basketball is a different situation. 1982, Ricky Henderson steals his 119th stolen base of the season, breaking Lou Brock's record. 1990, Brewers Blue Jays game is delayed 35 minutes due to, no, not rain. No, not snow. How about gnats? It was delayed for 35 minutes because of gnats. Must have been a whole slew of them. 2024, no, 1990. I just said that. Yeah, 2024. Jason Kelsey and his brother Travis Kelsey. Travis is the one that's married to Taylor Swift. Signed a deal for their New Heights podcast with Amazon Wondery for more than $100 million. Birthdays on this date: 1951, Buddy Bell, Major League Baseball player, Hall of Famer, third baseman, five-time All-Star, six-time Gold Glove winner, and manager, was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 1966, Rob Burnett, NFL defensive end, second team All-Pro in the 2000 Browns, was born in Livingston, New Jersey. And 1970, happy birthday, Jim Thome, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, infielder, five-time All-Star, National League home run leader in 2003, was born in Peoria, Illinois. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports here at the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charles Barkley shares your feelings as well. He
Oh,
says
yeah.
that he doesn't think he shares the same feelings you share. But here's the question I would have for you. Some people may say, "What kind of question is that?" But think about it. All right, so they don't want transgender women playing for the WNBA. But let's say they had this big passion for playing basketball and they really want to play the game so bad. And the WNBA are not going to accept them in because they're trans women. What if these trans women wanted to play NBA basketball?
Well, I tell you, they would not succeed because I'm not putting women down when it comes to playing in the male sport. A man body is much different from a woman's body. Okay. Now, with the exception of the tennis back in 1976, Dr. Renee Richards, um, basketball is a physical sport. Tennis is not a physical sport because there's a big difference now. Basketball is a physical bruising sport with contact. And a man's body is going to just knock around a woman's body and is going to wear them down. And, for a person that could be, even with a man who could be in his 60s versus a 20-year-old young woman, the man will still prevail. The woman will have to be exceptionally talented, and the man has to be exceptionally not talented at all for that to switch around. But listen, we live in a world, it is what it is. I mean, there was some name calling. Um, in fact, the basketball player who had the altercation with the verbal exchange told him, "You're not going to sleep with Sophie Cunningham for doing all of this." So, listen, you go to a men's basketball game, there's a lot of cussing. But when you go to a WNBA game, there's more cussing than what men do. And when a woman get into their deep feelings, and there's no holds bar, women will let out and let loose and everything. So this is why I said it's gonna get uglier until the commissioner do something about this. And I still stand by what I say. I'm
But
not offended.
the question I was that you didn't answer. What if a transgender woman wants to play NBA ball? Is there any room for her?
No, it's no room. It's no room. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to break it down. There's no room for her. It's not gonna be allowed. It's not gonna happen. Now, you do have
Okay.
women that want to
Not,
coach.
okay. Look, I'm just trying to be fair here. Wouldn't
I
that be
understand you.
discrimination? Wouldn't that be discrimination?
No, it wouldn't be discriminating because it would be discriminating because by law, you could say, well, it's okay for a woman to join to an NBA men's league. Not happening. It's not going to happen. Okay. Even the president of the United States cannot do anything about this. This is sports.
Yeah, but she's a transgender woman.
To play in a male.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well because he was born male. He was
Okay.
born male.
And would there be any room for them if they wanted to play basketball? They're not
If
going to play
he
for WNBA, but is there any room for them for
if
NBA ball?
if he makes the team, if he's good and if he makes the team, sure.
Okay, that's
We
that's what I want to find out. That's
Yeah,
what I want to find out.
but but again, I don't understand why would that happen because
Well, that's because the world the way it is today.
yeah,
That's basically it. We don't see it that way. You don't see, transgender woman playing a woman's on a woman's team or a male's team. It's just what the world is today. You know, I really don't have an answer for that, why that would be. But I'm just trying to, you know, get a handle on things, because what if they did want to play basketball? They
They
can't,
would
they're
have to
not
make the team. They would have to have a tryout. They would have to go to training camp. They would have to impress the coaches and the scouts to see whether or not they can make the team.
the question is if they were accepted or not. And I guess that's a question that you couldn't answer. That would be a question for people who work in that industry in the hierarchies. All
I
right.
don't know.
That was basically it.
All right.
No, but you give us some thought. You give us some thought anyway, you
The
know.
NBA would not allow it. The NBA would
Okay.
not allow it.
All
I'm
right.
just saying they would not allow it.
Okay. All
And if
right.
they would allow it, it would cause major problems. It
Yeah.
would cause major problems.
And who needs major problems, right? Okay, Brian, thanks for the sports. I appreciate that. And just in case you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live, and we'll be with you for the balance of the hour. And we're going to take you back in time on this day in history. In 1953, the romantic comedy film Roman Holiday, starring Audrey Hepburn, Gregory Peck, and Eddie Albert, is released. In 1964, Walt Disney's musical film Mary Poppins, starring Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, premieres at the Grauman Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, California, and wins 5 Academy Awards. Back in 1965, WTVI TV, Channel 42 in Charlotte, North Carolina, uh, which is a PBS station, begins broadcasting. In 1967, Naomi Sins is the first Black model uh, on a U.S. cover. The cover was Fashion of the Times. In 1970, Jimi Hendrix creates his last studio recording at Electric Radio Studios in New York City, an instrumental called Slow Blues. 1973, an American Civil War ship, USS Monitor, is discovered. In 1984, U.S. President Ronald Reagan announces the Teacher in Space project. In 1985, the Space Shuttle Discovery launches its 20th mission. In 1990, No Fences and the second studio album by Garth Brooks is released, and it made Billboard Album of the Year in 1991. In 2001, actress Angelina Jolie is named a UNHCR Goodwill Ambassador at the UNHCR headquarters in Geneva. In 2008, U.S. Senator Barack Obama becomes the first African American to be nominated by a majority political party for president of the United States by the Democratic Party. In 2020, Mike Pence accepts the nomination for vice president at the Republican convention, calling for law and order after the shooting of Jacob Blake. The 36th U.S. president, Lyndon B. Johnson, was born on this day in 1908. He was born in Stonewall, Texas, and he died January 22nd, 1973, 64. In 1909, on this day in history, jazz saxophonist Lester Young was born in Woodville, Mississippi, and he died in 1959. On this day in history, in 1916, actress Martha Raye was born in Dayton. I was going to say it has an E to it, so I'm not going to call it but, so I'm going to say Bunt, Montana. And she died in 1994. In 1942, Daryl Dragon of Captain Antonio. Captain Antonio was born in Pasadena, California. He died in 2019. Actress Tuesday Well is celebrating a birthday today. She was born on this day in 1943 in New York City. She's 83. In 1944, actor G.W. Bailey of Police Academy and The Closer was born in Port Arthur, Texas. He's 82. Actress Barbara Bach was born on this day in 1947 in New York City. She's 79. Pee Wee Herman, whose real name is Paul Rubens, was born on this day in 1952 in Peekskill, New York. He died July 30th, 2023, at 70 years old from cancer. In 1955, on this day in history, actress Diana Scarwitt was born in Savannah, Georgia. She's 71 today. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was born on this day in 1958 in Buffalo, New York. She's 68. In 1966, former U.S. President Joe Biden weds Nelia, Nelia Hunter until her death in 1972. In 1977, singer Jimmy Buffett weds Jane Slagvold. In 2005, actor Robert Downey Jr. weds film producer Susan Levine in New York. Was in New York. I think it was called Amagansett, New York. 2025, on this day in history, American Iran Contra scandal figures Oliver North and Fawn Hall. They got married in Arlington County, Virginia. Civil rights activist and socialist W.E.B. Du Bois died on this day in 1963 at 95. He was born February 23rd, 1868. He was born in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Comedian, actress Gracie Allan died on this day in 1964, 69 years old. She was born July 26, 1895 in San Francisco, California. Former Beatle manager Brian Epstein died on this day in 1967 at 32 years old, accidental overdose. That's a drug overdose. And he was born September 19th, 1934 in Liverpool, England. In 1971, publisher, Random House, and panelist What's My Line, Bennett Cerf, dies at 73. And finally, 2016, psychologist and media personality Joy Brown, who I also worked with. She died at the age of 71 years old. So that's what's happening on this day in history. And if you know anything that's happening on this day in history, let us know. Type it in there and we'll display it as well. Okay, I've got those movies that I always tell you about, but before I do that, I want to tell you another couple of deaths in the industry today. J.P. Morgan, one of the top female recording artists of the 1950s, with 5 hits of 1955, alone included "That's All I Want from You," and who later became a frequent talk show guest and game panelist. She was known taking off her shirt on the Gong Show. She was known for that, and she has died. And Morgan died Monday of natural causes in Longview, Washington. She was 94. Tim Curry, the English actor who became a massively popular cult figure thanks to his performance in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Clue, and the TV miniseries called It, has died, and an immediate cause of death was unclear. In 1912, Carey suffered a major stroke and had been dealing with health problems in the years since. He was 80 years old. So as I got ready to start about the movies, I have 3 this week, so let me get right through them as quick as I can. The first one goes back to 1967. It's called The Incident. Now, I saw this movie just last week. I saw it. I previewed it last week. 1967. Martin Sheen, Tony Musante, and Bo Bridges. It's a black and white classic from 1967. You can see it on Turner Classic Movies. It's Friday at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. I'll give you the theme of it, but I won't give you the whole roundup so you could know. But this is about a couple of guys who held passengers on a New York subway train. And the people that I mentioned, Bo Bridges, Tony Musante, and Martin Sheen, they're the stars, but you'll see other familiar faces like Ruby Dee, Ed McMahon. Yes, Ed McMahon, Johnny Carson's sidekick. He was in that movie too. Brock Peters was in it. Donna Mills, and a few others. So that goes back to 1967. Also, we have The Strawberry Blonde from 1941. James Cagney, Olivia de Havilland, and Rita Hayworth. That's Turner Classic Movies. That's Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. And Pal Joey from 1957, starring Frank Sinatra, Rita Hayworth, and Kim Novak. That's Turner Classic Movies. That's Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check out these movies. And by the way, if you go to Turner Classic Movies, you might find other movies that I didn't mention only because these are my picks of the week. And you could add to your list of what to watch in conjunction with the one I just gave you. And also, when you go on Turner Classic Movies, be aware that there are a lot of well, I already told you a lot of other movies, but if you still have your cable and you don't get the chance to see these movies in real time, you could DVR them and watch them later. And also, while you're on cable, there's a lot of other things available, like sporting events, and you have documentaries, children programs, and the whole 9 yards. It's right there for you. Let me give you these movies once again. The Incident, Martin Sheen, Tony Musanti, and Bo Bridges, Turner Classic Movies, Friday at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. The Strawberry Blonde, James Cagney, Olivia de Havilland, and Rita Hayworth, Turner Classic Movies, Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. And Pal Joey, Frank Sinatra, Rita Hayworth, and Kim Novak, Turner Classic Movies, Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I hope you get a chance to check them out. Brian, I wanted to quickly reflect once again on Dolly Parton. I didn't know that you met her, and I'm glad you did. I wasn't fortunate enough to meet her, but I remember when back in 1978, she came to New York and she came to City Hall and she got the key to the city. At that time, it was Mayor Koch, Edward Koch, who was mayor at that time, gave me the key to the city, and she did a little mini concert while she was there, and 30, I think it was 35 to 38,000 people showed up. And she did the concert from the steps. Now I was fortunate to be there for that concert. As a matter of fact, I was right in the front. I don't know how I got there. I can't remember if it was a perk that okay, we're going to get you right in the front, you know, because I was a disc jockey at the time. But I was right there at the front, but I wasn't center. I was like maybe on the right side in the front, and I got a good close up of her. She was singing, and she was. I didn't get a chance to meet her. I wasn't introduced to her, but I can tell you one thing. I felt her love. I felt her love when she was performing. She
Yeah.
cracked a few jokes, and I just felt her love. But you actually met her, and you said, "What a wonderful lady!" And you're not the first person I heard talk about her that way. I heard that she was very nice to everybody.
She was very nice to everybody. I met her at the Lowe's. What was that movie theater? It was on Times Square. It was a premiere. She did a movie with Lily Tomlin with the three ladies. I forgot the name of that movie.
9 to 5.
9 to 5. 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
9 to 5. It was at Midtown and Times Square. That's where they
Mhm.
used to have all the premieres movies at and everything, all the
Mhm.
stars. And she
Yeah.
was there and she just, she had some, some of her bodyguards there, but you know,
Mhm.
I waved to her, she waved, and she came over to me and said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing good. You enjoying
Mhm.
it?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she spoke to some other officers there, security
Mhm.
officers and people in
Mhm.
general, and the fans and the people that came to the preview, the
Mhm.
to the premiere. She was
Mhm.
very took her time and signing autograph. I'm not an autograph person because
Neither am
um
I.
because I don't want nobody to tell me no, you can't get one. Then I'll just look at you differently then. But I mean, I'd rather take a picture of you than to ask for an
Right.
autograph. And
Yeah.
she was just so nice and pleasant, and I'll never
Yeah.
forget that. Never
Yeah.
forget that.
I've heard that story too, even on TV when they gave her due, which she deserves. She highly deserves that. The attention that
Right.
they're giving her, she really deserves that. You know, did you know that that song that she wrote and recorded, "I Will Always Love You"?
Hmm.
Elvis Presley wanted to record that song, and she turned it down. And
Wow.
that she was mean about it. The reason why she didn't want Elvis recorded because Elvis, back in his day, he always wanted the publishing rights and all of that, and this was her song. She wrote this, and she didn't want anybody to handle that.
That's right.
But she gave it to Whitney. Whitney wanted to record it, and she gave it to Whitney.
Whitney Houston, that's right. And
Yep.
of course, you got to get permission
Yeah.
to, but um, so they paid Dolly Parton
Hmm.
the royalties.
Hmm.
And and it was just I have it right here. I forgot what it says. I'm going to read it right quick for you and everything. But
Hmm.
it was just so wonderful how the way that she did it, and she was just so friendly. And it says Dolly Parton used millions of dollars in royalties from Whitney
Hmm.
Houston's cover of "I Will Always Love You,"
Hmm.
commercial property in a predominant black neighborhood in Nashville. It was
Hmm.
millions. Somebody said it was 10 million. I don't know the exact number, but it was, oh yeah, it was earned pardon around 10 million in royalties during the 1990s alone. So she
Hmm.
gave to the neighborhoods in Nashville, which was a black community and everything. That was very nice of her. And
Hmm.
but again, I knew her before that. I don't want to make it sound like I knew her personally, but I met her before that, and she was just a very nice lady, and just wonderful, wonderful human being.
But Billy Joel once wrote and recorded a song, "Only the Good Die Young," and I brought that out as a point because here Dolly Parton was 80 years old,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
loved by everyone. I don't care who you were, whether you're white, you're black, or everybody loved her. I go online and I see some of the videos people record, and they talk about that they're so saddened, and they talk about Dolly Parton and how good she was. The people who were very knowledgeable about Dolly Parton, they talked about her. And there was this one guy, I thought he was kind of cool when he did it.
Hmm.
He got on there and he said, he was talking to God. He says, God, you picked the wrong 80-year-old person to take away from us. You picked the wrong one. She says she deserves to be here. I mean, you're not going to tangle with God like that. I didn't
No,
put it
no,
like I
I
did
did.
it.
I don't like that statement at all.
Yeah, he
You know,
did that. But he was trying to make a point. You took
yeah,
the wrong one, and he didn't take the other one. We know what he's talking about, right?
yeah. But
Yeah.
even with that,
Yeah,
you don't want
I
to
know,
say
but
nothing
I
negative
just
about him.
think I brought it out there. But
Yeah,
I do agree that Whitney was, I think, to me, as far as I'm concerned, she's 80 years old, but she still was taken away too soon, as far as I'm concerned.
well,
You know,
listen, her journey on earth was
yeah,
fulfilled with
yeah,
love and
yeah,
even with laughter and with
yeah,
kindness and love. So, she was, we're not going to be here forever,
yeah, yeah,
and she was a true trooper,
yeah.
and she spread her love throughout the world,
Hmm.
throughout the world, not only in Nashville, but throughout the world. So.
Yeah. I'm just glad I didn't get a chance to meet her. I didn't get up close and personal like you did, but at least
Mhm.
I got the vibe from her. It came to me. It just felt her love.
And
So,
she was a beautiful woman too.
yeah.
What you see on TV is
Hmm.
exactly what you see, and
Hmm.
on a on a on a serious note, I gotta say, you know,
Yeah, she jokes about those too.
she was very busty, put it like that.
Yeah. And
You know,
she jokes about it.
yeah, and she was in person very busty too.
Yeah. That's what she
I tried to look away while I was talking to her, but I found my way, and that's out of love and respect. That's not
yeah.
disrespecting Dolly Parton, but she was a very
Yeah.
pretty, gorgeous woman
Yeah.
inside and outside, and
Yeah.
she will be missed.
Yeah.
She will be missed. Yes,
We,
absolutely.
we love you, Dolly. We love you.
And
We
thank
really
you for the memories and the songs. Yes.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Um, Before we wrap up the show, we brought this subject out a little lightly on the coffee hour last week. Uh, Doris Miller, uh, who was, of course, he served in World War II. He served in
Yeah.
World War II, and as you already know, there's a vessel that was named after him, or that is named after him, right? Called the SS Doris Miller.
Mhm.
And now A naval leader wants to change, take that away, and add Donald Trump's name to that vessel. Now, I'm steamed. I'm steamed. I'm really appalled about this because here's a man that served in World War II, and here's some of his record here. Here's some of his record. He grabbed a gun during the attack and was credited of shooting down at least one Japanese plane and dragged wounded U.S. sailors to safety.
Six of
That's
them. I heard it was 6 or 7 warplanes that he shot down without
right,
any training.
right.
He shot them down.
And he also received the U.S. The medal. Well, he was nominated for the Medal of Honor, but he received the Navy Cross. He received the Navy Cross and was nominated for the Medal of Honor. He served with distinction, and they're gonna put rename that vessel after someone who never served, who was a draft dodger,
5-time draft dodger. 5 times.
five-time draft dodger. And they want to take that name down and give it to him. And that's not the only thing, Brian. You heard it today all day long, and they're still in court about it. He wants to he may possibly tear down the Kennedy Center because he's not getting his way. He is such a big baby. He is
Yeah.
such a child. They take down his name from the Kennedy Center, and now he says, "Well, now if I don't get my name put back up there, I'm going to tear down I'm going to burn it down. I'm going to tear it down."
It's sad. I mean, it's sad that this is who he is. And, we just sit back and just wait for the midterms. We wait until he's removed out of office. I feel sorry for the American people, including myself, that have to deal with this economy. This here economy is really bad. But this man, um, um, he served diligently. Remember,
Yeah, he did.
you got to understand something.
Hmm.
There wasn't no black soldiers allowed to fight in World War II. It was President Harry S. Truman that signed the bill in 1948, I believe 1948, 1950, where black soldiers could fight together to unite together in the military. It took after World War II. And here it is. They want to take away this man. And unfortunately, he died a couple years later. In another related situation that occurred by being attacked. He was killed in action and everything. But for what he did, he got out, went up there on top of on the battleship, didn't without any experience, and was shooting Japanese airplanes down.
Mm.
Saved his captain.
Yeah,
Captain, the captain did die later on, but he went up there to go get him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He died. He died. He died.
24, I believe he was 20.
No, 2 years later he died.
2 years later he died.
He died the
Yes.
day before Thanksgiving, November
Right.
24th, 1943.
Yep.
The
Yep.
day before Thanksgiving, he
Yep.
died.
That's right.
And he was originally from Waco, Texas. That's where he was born. And but I was appalled all week. I was steaming. I had steam coming out of my ears because this is a man that they want to take everything from everyone. He wants to take everything from everyone.
Listen,
All he
let's
does
call
is
it,
cry like a little baby. Why, why, why?
let's call it like I see it. You may not say it, but I'm going to say it. He's a racist. He's only doing this here.
I've said that before.
He's a racist, and that's the bottom line. Because why would he want to do that? Take away from this man and the family. The family got to see this here. Come on, you don't do that.
Yeah,
Donald J. Trump, come on, show some
yeah,
dignity.
yeah. We should have started this subject first and then went on to Dolly Parton, because then this way the show would have went out with a positive
Yeah,
thing.
that's
But
okay. I still love you,
yeah,
Dolly.
yeah, we love you. We love you. Well, Brian, you're back in school now, so I'm going to ask you, what is it like for you tomorrow?
I'll let you know tomorrow morning when I find out what my schedule is going to be. I'll let you know. But in the meantime, I will send the information over. Yeah, school is back, and I'm back too. You know, the kiddies love me, and I gotta be there for them and thing.
Got you. All right. We'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll see what happens. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, you meet me back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. The name of that show is called The Coffee Hour. Brian with the latest developments in today's world of sports. And if he can't be here, of course, we're going to cover everything ourselves. And then you can meet us back here next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for more of Talk Back Live. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to enjoy yourself. Have a great morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant good night. Take care.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with Frank Allen and Brian Camp. The producers are Al Dale and Katina Camp. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.